Hello, welcome to the ESS BIZTOOLS podcast. I'm Peter Towers, Managing Director and Founder of ESS BIZTOOLS. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. Today I want to talk particularly, of course, to accountants who are considering what you're going to do with your business, which is a little bit at the crossroads. If you've been listening to these presentations over the last 3 weeks, you will know what we've been exploring, the relationship of the delivery of services and looking at how it can be improved for the benefit of small, medium enterprises. There's 2 million of those in Australia, and according to the Small Business Ombudsman, more than 50% of them are in some sort of financial difficulty. They're trading at a loss. Many people are not paying themselves a wage. And they're the key group of clients for smaller accounting firms. So what can be done to improve the overall situation? So before we look at the current position, let's go back and have a look at history. 44 years ago, the Institute of Chartered Accountants and the Australian Society of Accountants, which is now the CPAs, entered into an agreement with the University of New England in Armidale, New South Wales, for the creation of a special unit which would deliver business advisory services training to accountancy firms who were servicing the SME markets. Obviously, the accountancy organisations agreed that there needed to be more done to encourage a broader range of services being offered by accountancy firms to SMEs, in addition to the preparation of income tax returns supported by an annual set of accounts. There was a lot more of accountancy work that could be undertaken. That unit at the University of New England was branded as the Financial Management Research Centre, FMRC, and they very successfully conducted courses at Armidale and in other parts of Australia and in New Zealand for a 20-year period to assist in the proclamation of the benefits that accountants could obtain for professional development and within your own firms, but also, very importantly, the benefits for SMEs. Over the years, 2,000 to 3,000 accountants participated in those training courses. The founder of the Financial Management Research Centre was Dr. Jeff Meredith, later Professor Jeff Meredith, when he was based at the University of the Southern Cross at Lismore. One of his key lieutenants was Andrew Geddes, who later became, I think, Australia's best accountancy industry trainer, and helped one of his clients that he'd assisted many years before to really form a great financial company, which became listed on the stock exchange and was in the top 200 list of the Australian Stock Exchange. And for 10 years, Andrew was the chair of that company, Green Cross Limited, an Australian-wide veterinary service business, together with pet food businesses and other associated activities. The vision was very clear that accountants should evolve into being the trusted business advisor for their SMEs. Let's turn back to now to see how successful that vision has turned out 40-odd years later. ESS BIZTOOLS entered into an agreement with FMRC that we would expand on the material that they were utilising in their series of presentations. It was not part of their mandate from the university to write detailed material, product packages, and assist in the actual implementation and ongoing training of accountancy teams. They were there to create the interest, and they did that very well. ESS BIZTOOLS continue with the model, and obviously we added a lot more material to it. We now have 35 product packages, and that's expanding. We'll have another 6 to 10 over the next 12 months. And these product packages are available by downloading from the internet. And our member accountants and bookkeepers and business advisors are able to deliver a wide range of professional services. Now let's look at what's happening within the accountancy market now then, the accountancy firms. Intuit QuickBooks conducted a survey in August 2025. They've indicated in their report that they interviewed 500 small, medium enterprises from all over Australia, and they invited them to identify the level of services that were being provided by their accountants. Now, they gave them 3 choices. The top rating choice was called the Key Strategic Partner, and it was defined as follows. They are a key partner in our business and our go-to professional for advice, and they are extremely valuable to our business's growth and success. Now, I believe that is the sort of endorsement that every accountant in Australia should be aspiring to receive from their SME clients. The other 2 classifications that Intuit QuickBooks offered the 500 business people were basically only preparing tax returns or going a little bit further, but in particular, their accounting advisor was not their key advisor and not their only advisor, but it was the key advisor. I think the accountant is the key advisor in the majority of successful businesses in Australia. And that's what I believe we should be aspiring to achieve. Now, the result, according to Intuit QuickBooks, was that 75 out of 500 firms voted for the key strategic partner level. 75 out of 500. 15% of the total. I think that's a very poor result. But as someone pointed out to me the other day, for accountancy firms thinking about embarking on this journey, it's a wonderful result because it really shows you that your competitors in the marketplace have not grasped the opportunity. It's still there. I don't think it's going to last forever, but it's still there. Because the level of support for that type of definition, I think, should be up around 75 to 80% of SMEs if you're really delivering the service. But that service requires a wide range of advisory services to be incorporated into the package. Because the stark reality is that an income tax return and an annual set of accounts does not assist your client to run their business properly. And even the 3-monthly approach to a business activity statement, unless you're offering a complete analysis of key performance indicators, business metrics, updating the cash flow forecast, comparing the actual performance against the budget, and sitting down and offering real financial controller type advice to your client, I don't think you're delivering the services that SMEs are entitled to and that we should be clearly promoting as a profession that they are available to them. Now, I know it's going to cost money, but that is one of the realities we need to inform the SME market. It's a cost of running a business if they're going to survive, and we get away from those woeful statistics that I mentioned before that have been produced by the Small Business ombudsman. So it's an understatement to say we have not progressed as was originally envisaged by Jeff Meredith, Andrew Geddes, Sam Beasley, and the other key people involved in the formation of FMRC. So where is the accountancy profession heading now? I think there's a tremendous opportunity, and I'm grateful that 15% of those business advisors business owners did recognise that their accountants were providing an outstanding service. 75 firms around Australia got that endorsement. SMEs need guidance, not just reporting. It's not a matter of just sending a report to them. In the old days, it used to get sent out by mail. These days, it's probably been delivered by the computer, by email or whatever. But you need to sit down and explain it to them. I found that out when I was Chief Financial Officer and Company Secretary of a listed public company. I sat down at least once a week with the Managing Director and went through the results, pointed out how calculations had been made so that he clearly understood. Now, if it's good enough for a public company Managing Director to get direct input from their key financial advisor, I think it's mandatory that SMEs receive that advice as well. So some of the issues that your clients need guidance on: business planning, budgets and cash flow forecast, all part of the predictive accounting documentation. 52-week business performance. I think it's essential that we realise that businesses are being operated basically 52 weeks of the year. Sure, some of them might only be working for 44 or even 30 if they're really seasonal businesses, but in most cases, it's 52 weeks. So there's daily, weekly, monthly tasks that are going on. And I don't think just this once a year involvement is what the market's looking for. We need to be delivering services that create a virtual accounting support team for your clients. And with these days, with the technology and the communications that are available, like we're using at present, these services can be delivered. And we have members of ESS BIZTOOLS who are delivering a wide range of services and charging fees around $120,000, $130,000 a year for a client for a Chief Financial Officer services type presentation. Understanding directors' duties and obligations. Advisory board input. How's an advisory board operate? We supply the material. We prepare short videos on each of these subjects. We run training sessions for our members. But it's then up to you to implement. And if you have a problem with any of our material, we ask you to contact us and tell us. Costing exercises, an enormous area I found in a public company. So it's also got to be very big in SMEs. So it's not just producing a set of financial accounts and giving them to the client. I found over the years, a lot of the clients cannot understand them, don't read them. You need to explain it to them so they clearly understand what the results. Ensuring the client understands that there's changes also occurring now, a couple of months away, relating to superannuation payments. What's the effect going to be on their cash flow? Now's the time to be looking at it for them, because it's going from payment every 3 months for superannuation in one lump sum to now being a payment that's got to be made and received by the superannuation fund within 7 days of the payroll payment date. That's going to cause some cash flow issues for some of your clients, I suspect. Have you talking to them? Another big issue for SMEs is debtors control. What is their debtors days outstanding? Another one is what's their dealings with suppliers. There's been some articles in the media in the last 10 days suggesting that suppliers are getting very hard to deal with. Creditors generally are getting hard to deal with because they know it's a very troublesome market that we're now in, and that some of their customers may be getting behind in payments and they're tightening up. They might be cutting off further supply until their bills are brought up to date. what's the challenge for you then? Well, it comes back to this two words, cash flow. Analysing the client's cash flow. Can changes be made? Should an approach be made to their bank to give them a further loan? Or could you consider, if they've got a sound business, trying to raise capital under crowdsource funding, equity raising? Or perhaps early stage innovation company, if they're a new company under 3 years of age, in most cases, can be up to 6 years and a variable type in situation. But if they've got a good product or service or a great project for one, they might be able to be able to raise capital as an early stage innovation company. So the pathway to a virtual CFO service, I think, for you to think about is it won't happen by chance. It definitely will not. I've seen people that have spoken to me and said, "Oh, Peter, your stuff's very interesting, but no, we won't do it. We'll do our own thing from time to time when we got time." I make contact with those sort of firms every year or so, and invariably I find they still haven't done something. In fact, I said to a guy recently, I wrote down what you said to me 4 years ago, and I've written down virtually word for word what you told me 4 years ago in our discussion today. And he was rather embarrassed, and I think he probably should have been, because none of his clients was getting serviced on this requirement. And from his firm's point of view, I think he was probably having trouble with staff attraction and retention because they were not doing interesting and challenging work. And we talked about that last week. And if you want to, please look at our podcast from last week, where we discovered the potential for improvements based on the memorandum that David Smith, Managing Director of Smith Inc. and former President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants in Australia, has sent round, looking at what's happening in the accountancy industry. It's something everyone should be reading. So you need to be looking at systems, processes, tools, and the consistency of delivering to undertake the advisory services, which we would be quite happy to help you in. So the choice is yours, of course. You have to decide what sort of services you're going to provide to your clients. If you're going to stay wholly as a compliance tax return preparer, you need to be the best there is in the marketplace, I think, as your point of differentiation. But if that's your decision, you probably won't be interested in anything further that I've got to say. But for those of you who are contemplating advisory service, please take the step. It's only a little step, but please take it. And you only need to start with one client. You don't need 100, because it will build from there. You need to train. It's like the football teams. They start their pre-season training about 6 weeks after the end of the previous year season, so that they can be match fit by the time the season starts, normally in around March. It's the same with offering advisory services. You need to take little steps, make sure the systems work, make sure you understand them, make sure you have champions being developed within your team, because this shouldn't just be the partners doing this delivery. In fact, it won't work if you try to do it that way. Partners need to be involved, of course, but try to get some of your younger accountants involved so they become your expert. Let's go back through some of these items that I just mentioned: business plans, budgets, cash flow forecasts, the 52-week business performance. At direct partner level, I think should be looking at directors and understanding advisory boards, but costing exercises are very important in big businesses. So I think they're just as important in small businesses, probably more so. So that's how you can get started on all of this. At ESS BIZTOOLS, we have an afters promise. It's clearly stated on our website, and it does go on for a bit, but I'm going to quote some of the key lines that are included in it. Our promise is to develop product packages, articles, videos, training to assist our members, hopefully you, to deliver services to SMEs, which will be recognised by a majority of your clients as being delivered at the key strategic partner level, as defined in the Intuit QuickBooks SMB 2025 report. That's our commitment to you, and I would like to have the opportunity of welcoming you to ESS BizTools and being able to deliver on that after promise which we have made to you. We also have affiliates, and we have some interesting promotions because they are both offering very important additional products to help you. Tax Fitness have a fantastic benchmarking product. They're benchmarking against the top 20% of a business in 400 different industry classifications. A great tool, because unfortunately the other benchmarking reporting organizations, as far as I can work out, are only comparing to averages. Tax Fitness have taken it a step further, and they're looking at the top 20%. Now, they've discounted their product subscription by $200, so it costs $1,000, and it covers a lot more than just benchmarking, but that's the subscription for 12 months plus GST. And as addition to that, you get 12 months access to the ESS BizTools Starter Package. This is a joint promotion we have entered into with Tax Fitness. That's available, and it's not going to continue for that much longer, but it's there at present. And the other one is the Boss Factor Library. This is a training in salesmanship, because the concept is you've got to sell these services to SMEs. The library they've developed, the subscription is $70 per month. And if you paid that subscription, you can also then subscribe to the coaching and mentoring program, which is $1,200 plus GST per person. There's some firms around Australia have got 4 of their team involved in those training packages. They realise the importance of being able to introduce a very important soft skill, and that is being able to communicate and sell services to SME clients. And if you enter into that package between now and the 30th of June, you will also receive a 12-month subscription to the ESS BizTools Starter Package. Now, let's coming back to our promotion that we have on today. We have talked to you today about packages that are included in our financial forecasting package. A 12-month subscription will cost you $220 per month, including GST. Or if you pay up front, you'll get a special discount. So the upfront discounted payment is $2,199, including GST. I think if you use the ESS BizTools packages, I know that you will achieve an attractive return on investment if you use the packages. And that means you do the preliminary training that we suggest in our package that you do. You have 2 30-minute training sessions with me, and you then select one client to start with. And a month later, you might have another client, and so on. You progressively work your way into it, and you also have 1 or 2 of your team members, your young accountants, become champions in various products that will fit what your clients are likely to be interested in the delivery of advisory services. So it's not a fixed type arrangement as far as we're concerned. We know that you've got variable clients, and you need to be looking at the packages, pick the packages that are going to suit your clients' requirements. So please go to our website, www.essbiztools.com.au, click on pricing and packages, and that's when you can look at the ESS BizTools packages. To have a look at the affiliate packages that I mentioned just before, go onto our website, click on affiliate packages, and then you can click on the Tax Fitness package or the Boss Factor Library, and proceed with your subscription if you're so inclined. It's been great to talk to you. If you've got any questions, please send me an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au, and I will get back to you. Or you can send me or make a phone call if you like, 0418 190 181. Stay safe, have a trust, great day. Goodbye.